Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Just to be clear, I want to welcome everyone and to let you know we are in the session titled International Real Estate and Business Development. I have a few panelists that I'm going to be introducing. We do have two people joining us from Zoom that are out of the country. We have Faith, who is actually currently in Zimbabwe with the Accra. And we also have Dre Tavlor with Beyond Investments joining us from the Abri Mountains in Ghana. And with us here in present, we have Hafeeza Turè, who is an international sales agent. We also have Edward Mensah, who is originally from Ghana, and he is a developer. He owns Get a Homes, founder and owner of Get a Homes. He builds domestically and internationally. We also have Sonya Phillips, who is the executive assistant of a newly installed chief of economics in Ghana. And we also have Tyra Price, who is a real estate investor in multiple jurisdictions outside of the United States. So we're gonna have a conversation. I kind of broke it down into three small fireside chats, if you will. First, we'll start with the development side. We'll speak of real estate development outside of the U.S. We'll then move to talk about business development, and finally, we'll talk about real estate investing. Okay. All right. So, Dre, I would like to start with you in terms of, a lot of us really dream of planting seeds in the motherland. And you are from Kansas City and you relocated and you're now working on a project in Ghana. Could you tell us a little bit about that transition and some of the things that it entailed?
Yes, thanks for having me. I'd like to apologize in advance if my screen freezes. My silence on the ground is not posted where it should be, so it might freeze for a couple seconds, but I'll do that. So yeah, I made that transition. Definitely trying to build in a different country. It's a different culture, first off. It's not like going to, Home Depot, you get supplies, going to the market. There's no price tags or anything, so you're willing to deal it. You have to have somebody here on the ground to make sure everything's everything. So it's definitely different. It can be done. It has been done. It's definitely a process, eye-opening and learning, daily. They're used to building differently than we build in the U.S.
Okay, so I was segueing to Edward. Edward's from Ghana, and your story is different because you came here. So how has that experience impacted what you're doing in the real estate development world?
Thank you for the question. So, like you said, I came here. Of course, once you're from somewhere like Africa, from Ghana is a developing country. So coming here, I understood that I had to transition my process of building the knowledge, right? Here we have international building code. In Africa, not so much, right? Like Dre said, building materials, everything is different. I picked up two projects. One in Newport News, Virginia here, Aurora, Colorado, and I'll speak of the one here. So one portfolio that I have picked to pursue for the past 3 years is mainly I buy houses that are bigger, Victorian houses in kind of downtown areas, predominantly low-income areas, and I turn them into duplexes. Culturally, in terms of bringing what I have in terms of culture to America, I tend to employ the people in the community. In that process, I tell them about me, how we do things, and to be frank, a lot of people are intrigued about knowing about Africa, and they want to go. So through that segue, I'm able to put them together and share what I have, teach them, and I learn from them as well. So like right now, I kind of live in a hood, and everybody say, why do you live here? I said, no, I want to connect my brothers. I want to be able to available to share what I have culturally with my brothers and sisters. So that is the impact I think culturally I'm bringing to the table here. I also did a project in Colorado, in Aurora, the first African indoor shopping mall in the US that we know of. We also employed a lot of people from within the community. And through the process of building, we organized cultural events where we invited people in the community to come and learn about Africa. So through, looks like I've talked a lot in the air. So through cultural drumming and dancing, through storytelling, through our food, we're able to share what we have with the people in the community. So I think I will speak about just those two for now, and we'll have more later.
Awesome. And speaking of connecting with the community, Dre, could you give us some insight on, I guess, your impact in the community in terms of the labor that you're using on the current project that you're doing there, as well as share with us your current project? Dre, can you hear us? You're on mute. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, what's your question?
The question was surrounding the labor force that you're using and your impact in the community with your development project that you're doing right now, and also share with us a few details about your current project.
Okay, so I had a friend who he had a friend who was from Kansas City, not from Kansas City, lived in Kansas City. He went to construction school and Missouri, lived in Kansas for 6 years. And he reached out to me via Facebook, got some mutual friends, and his father was a builder here in Ghana, so that's how we pretty much connected. And he had his labor force come to the property, and that's why I've been utilizing, as well as people from the community that lives around the area for the project. So right now, currently, I have over 50 people there today working there. So pretty much surrounded by the community. I have people, women who sell food, who come to the project daily and sell their food. Local merchants who sell products. I'm always buying from them. Cement, so a lot of different local businesses that we're impacted by what we're building here on the project. We're doing a small little community, 7 homes, 8 duplexes, and 98 condo units on the property with the skating rink and rooftop pools and solar sustainability that we're all included in the project. So it's a large undertaking, but definitely a game changer for what we're doing in the mountains here in Ghana.
Awesome, thank you for that. I'm going to kind of switch gears and sort of talk about, because I hear the importance of building up the community, providing jobs and things of that sort when you're doing real estate development. So there's also a business development piece in terms of, you have these houses, but you're providing shelter, but how do we build around the job sector? So I want to bring Faith on to kind of talk about your company, AfroBlocks, and how you connect with outside of where you're at in Zimbabwe and where you are.
Okay, great, thank you. I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, you're good.
Okay, great. So when Hafeeza told me about this conference, I thought, what am I going to speak about about real estate, right? But now that I'm here, I think I'm in the right place. So, AfroBlocks is a Pan-African freelance talent marketplace where we source remote jobs for African talent, that is software development, video editing, graphic design, web development, Web3, and also. So our marketplace, our client base is in the US, UK, and Canada. And so we're trying to connect the professionals in Africa with clients in the US, UK, Canada, and they can help each other to build, if they can help these clients to build their businesses, right? And what's amazing is that we actually have a client, their name is Genese, and they are into helping, I think the diaspora people from Ghana, and I think Liberia as well, to help them build back home. So they have these contracts that they make the people that are in the diaspora to sign, and then they will build the houses back home for them. So we have interns that are working with the organizers. So that is into customer representatives, and they are helping the client to help reach out to their potential leads and also helping them also on closing deals, on signing contracts. So that is when a company like Africa comes in to bridge that gap when you are trying to reach to a market and see how you can penetrate the market such as Zimbabwe. So we would have freelancers here in Zimbabwe that would sort of help you to know who to target and where to target, and maybe also how to speak to the people, because I heard that you were mentioning that the market is different. So definitely you would need somebody that knows about the culture, someone that probably lives there and will help you to navigate through that market. So that is what we do here at AfriBlogs. We help you to build your business in all of the aspects that I mentioned.
Awesome, thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to move to Hafeeza and speak, if you can speak towards your experience with being an international sales agent when it comes to real estate and how that has impacted.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely want to share the opportunity, just a little bit about my background. Finance, accounting is kind of where I came in, worked in the corporate setting. I had quite a few entrepreneurial ventures after I left corporate to kind of figure out where it was that I wanted to be. One of the opportunities that came about is short-term rental, and that's kind of how I came to know this collective. And in that space, we were doing well, things were changing, evolving, learning how to maneuver, and then COVID hit, and it was like, now we have to pivot once again and figure out, how it is that we're going to sustain ourselves. The opportunity came about for us to go international. We were introduced to opportunities first in the Caribbean, and that's kind of how we got our feedback. That was the first experience and a learning experience, and I think it was valuable. We made so many connections in doing so. It was a part of this conference. So the year that we came back to break ground on the property, we were introduced to an opportunity in Ghana, and that's what also kind of opened our eyes to just how expansive the international opportunities are. It was already curated so that we had opportunities for it to be vetted. It wasn't something that we had to do our own, but we always have to do our own due diligence. But we knew that we could trust what was being brought to us. And, we did our checks and balances. We met personally with the developer, and we asked all the questions we needed to have the opportunity to go and see the property. So I'm telling you all of this because it opened the door for an international experience, and this collective also created space for sales agents. So those of us who may not have been in real estate before, I'm not a real estate agent domestically, but I have access to inventory. I'm an investor. I see what works. I see what the trends are. I see where, it makes sense to invest, and I naturally share that information. So if you are in the space as a realtor, or if you're someone who is an investor, this is an opportunity for you to bring people in and also be able to receive commission from this exchange. So as the ambassador to Ghana, what that means is that I'm building a relationship with the developers and entities in Ghana, and I'm sharing those connections. I've been back twice, a total of 6 weeks so far this year, and I'm going back in December. And these are opportunities for me to make those connections. It's different in the international space because they have different kind of criteria, different licensing, different quality assurance, different systems in place. So to understand that, and also understand how do we states and wanting to take advantage of these opportunities. So it's been a significant experience. Being a sales agent is absolutely an opportunity that's open to any and everyone, especially if you are familiar with the space or you're looking to invest or you have a network of people who you know could benefit from this opportunity. I always say we can go farther together, so why not bring folks along for a ride?
Thank you for that. And just to piggyback off of what you were saying, I'm going to bring Tyra into the conversation because you are a part of multiple collaborative efforts in many jurisdictions. I think you're in Honduras,
yes.
You're in Mexico,
Ghana as well.
Ghana.
Hi everybody, I'm Tyra. I'm a local. I live here in Chesapeake, so yay. As she said, I am invested in different countries, jurisdictions. My first one was in the Dominican Republic. I acquired like 6 properties there. My next one was in Ghana with Dre. And also in Mexico, I purchased some land in Mexico as well. And I'm a limited partner in a hotel in Honduras. So I'm not a real estate agent here in the States. I'm a registered nurse. So I did all these things as a nurse. And I also sell as well. So there's opportunity for you to do these things as well. So you don't have to have a real estate background. Like I said, I'm a nurse. I did all this working as a nurse after COVID.
And can you give a little bit of insight on, I guess, working with a team of people or a group? What type of recommendations when you're dealing with collaborating and group economics? What kind of advice or points can you give regarding that?
First of all, you want to make sure you're with a group of like-minded people. You want to make sure that you're all on the same page, that you all have the same thing in mind when you're going into an investment. You also want to have bylaws in place. Just in case something happened, you can always revert back. If someone gets sick or something happened, they want to pull out, you can always revert back. You also want to have a group bank account. That's important. Everyone needs to have a role as well. Someone might be in charge of the bank account. You might want 2 people, not just one, at least 2. In charge of the bank account, or everyone can have access to it. It just depends on how you want to set it up. It's up to you all how you want to set your group up. And I got you. And also, just make sure everything is laid out like how you want it. There's no right or wrong way in place, but just make sure you have rules and bylaws in place. That's my.
Thank you. Yes, I'm gonna open up for questions in 1 second, but I do want to give Sonya an opportunity to speak, and I will say, let me fully disclose that I am biased. Sonya is the executive assistant of a newly installed chief of economics in the Volo region of Ghana, which happens to be my husband. So she's going to give us a little bit of insight about what that chief economic role is and what we're doing over there.
Okay, and his name is none of, oh, tell me. Hey y'all. Okay, hey y'all. Okay, so again, my name is Sonya Phillips, and I am the executive director for Togo, Volo, First is his African, given name. Being the very first economic development chief in Volo, which is located on the Volta region of Ghana. And with that, his role is to bring revenue into that community. And he will be doing that through different endeavors. The first being farming with hemp. And the great thing about hemp farming in that region is the weather permits it to be harvested twice a year. And we already have a company that we're growing for in 2024. So that's super exciting. And the second way is through investments. And we have some projects being built right now. The very first resort is being built there, and the Royal Resorts of Volo. And that's scheduled to open in 2025. And with that, we will be also sponsoring trips. So tourism is the third way that we will be bringing revenue into Volo by sponsoring trips for investors to come over in tourism. And there's an awesome festival that happens in April. So I'll be traveling there this April and had an opportunity to host a fashion show. So entertainment and great resort travel, fun, and who don't want to go to Ghana?
Thank you so much for that. And I see we have questions in the audience, so I'm going to pass the mic around since this is being recorded. Who's my first?
Hi everyone, my name is Bessie. I'm from Nigeria, so I'm just glad to see the African representation. My question would be, what is the biggest challenge you've all faced setting up your real estate companies in Africa, and how have you dealt with it?
Thank you for the question. So it's a big challenge, starting from the culture, right? You don't really know the people. I'm doing stuff in Ghana that's like great. I'm also talking about other news in Ghana. As a real estate developer, I have 3 rules of thumb. The first one is that I want to make sure I make money, right? Making money is the main objective. The next second item is making the money really fast. And the third one is very easy. So acquiring land is one of the biggest touchy areas. In Africa, and I'll speak specifically of Ghana, I don't know how it is in Nigeria or other places, but the lands are usually owned by the chiefs. And actually, she mentioned the husband, and then she said Torgbe. It is Torgbe.
Extra accent.
Let's learn together.
Torgbe. Yes. And you know, if you don't mention the chief's name right, you may be someone to bring 5 cows.
We don't have 5 house.
Anyway, so because they are so many chiefs, sometimes the brothers of the chief or the nephews of the chiefs, whatever, everybody claim ownership to the land. So you want to first go at the national level and find out what is the best direct registry at the national level where lands are, you can buy lands through, everything's safe, blah, 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 blah. And before you purchase, don't you purchase anybody who says, oh, I own this land and it belongs to my father and whatever in the family. Okay, so that's one big challenge. The other one is trusting people. You don't know the people. The people are there to also make money. And once you are from the United States or anywhere abroad, you are seen as money. So you have to be very careful who you trust. Like she said, the group, everything group is great. Don't single one person to say this my best friend, my best buddy, whatever. I'm going to let a person do everything. You may be surprised. So not getting those things and getting them right is good. And also, most of the time, like Dre said, you have to be your own supply chain 100%. Because there's no Walmart, there's no Home Depot or Lowe's over there. So personally, what I do is that I buy everything here, put in a container, and I'll ship it. Okay. So when I get it there, I'm training some people how to hang drywall, because drywall is not something in Africa. There are some few technologies that at the international level has to go to Africa. And as far as my business, we are very strong with that, to do that. So I hope I answered your question, Pastor.
And I'm gonna, Dre, if you can chime in on that question as well, coming from, coming from the U.S. and setting up a company, what were some of the challenges in terms of setting up your company? That's your question, Bessie, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Your sound is kind of out, Dre.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, coming from the US, you need to figure this out, but if you're non-Ghanaian, you need 2 people in your company, and it's a $500,000 threshold, depending on the industry. If you have a Ghanaian partner, it's $250,000 threshold, and if you 2 Ghanaians, it's just an administrative fee, which might be less than $200 to do that for a company. So, having partnerships here.
Wow, so it's about who you know.
There's definitely barriers to entry. And just a disclaimer, they're in Ghana and Zimbabwe, so the Wi-Fi does go in and out from time.
So while we wait for the freeze to happen, I want to speak about the partnership thing we're talking about. To solve that problem, personally, I've created a group.
Okay, so go ahead.
So I've created a partner, because I'm a Ghanaian citizen, you don't have to go through the 500,000. So my company is here, we create a consortium, raise the funds, and then we'll go do it over there. So you don't have to worry about coming out and go with 500,000, 150,000. We'll segue, actually, maybe I shouldn't talk about that now, but in terms of.
Well, Dre's back, so
Yeah,
he can go ahead and fill us in. Go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, so, we have those issues on setting up a company. You don't have to have the $500,000 for some businesses. I'm not for sure. It's a GIPC that you can go find more information about the industry that you might be interested in establishing here in Ghana. But it's definitely, sometimes a barrier for those coming to the U.S. because everybody don't have $500,000 to invest or $250,000. Or have somebody, a partner already here on the ground that they can trust to do business with.
And so one point that he's making, every jurisdiction is different. So when we were in DR, there was no thresholds in terms of that. And actually it was easy to get, dual citizenship in terms of having a certain amount of passive income that will allow you to get citizenship. So depending on where you're doing business outside of the U.S., everyone has their own rules. So who has the next question? I'm gonna get your mic. Oh, you have a mic. Okay, awesome.
Okay, here I'm not.
Okay.
So for the woman here, I just had a question of how did you get your money, that startup money, to start investing? And then my second question is, because I am a licensed realtor, my background is also in marketing. I know typically for investment it's like a 20% down. So I was just curious, in the other countries you all have invested in, is it that 20% down? Or I'm just curious how much money you have to put down when you're purchasing international.
To answer your first question, I use my own money when I first started investing. So if I have money, I just used it, and then as a group we started bringing in our own money to invest. But with the hotel it's different because you can raise funds for the hotel. So that was a totally different experience with doing that. So yeah, all my personal residential property, I use my own money. So, and the second part of your question, I'm sorry.
Did you have to put like the 20% down that you usually have to do here in the U.S.?
So for when I was in the Dominican, Mexico, and with Ghana, I also had to put down like a reservation fee. It depends on which property that you're going to purchase. It's a different amount. It can be anywhere from $500 up to $5,000. Is reservation fee, correct?
Yep.
Correct. And then after that, you'll put down anywhere for the down payment. It's anywhere between 10% to 30%. It depends on the development. It's
So,
all investing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring this back to, because you're talking about 20% and then you go get a loan from a bank and it's a mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no loan.
There is no loan.
There's no loan.
There is.
You're paying 100% cash. Yes, cash. And it
But
depends
there's
on.
seller financing as
There we go.
opposed to. I need
Yes,
that.
here she goes.
Here, tell us how to find it, that's a
So,
I can.
So in the majority of the countries that we've interacted with outside of the United States, they don't have the same debt-based system, they have a cash-based system. So a lot of the times the banks won't finance. If they do, you can get them to finance a small portion, but typically not the overall project. And their interest rates are so high that you wouldn't want to go about it that way anyway. So a lot of times we have developers who will offer financing in the form of payments. So you might have a payment plan where, you know, some are offering 24, 36-month payment plans, but then you have the reservation process, and then you put your deposit down, and then you make your payments based off of the term. So there is no set standard across the board, and every country is different. But outside of the United States, the majority of the countries don't follow that base system, so they're cash rich. And that's another thing when you think about, like, quote-unquote third world countries, they're not using debt. Whatever they're purchasing, they've raised the funds to do so. So if they're living in multi-million-dollar homes or $100,000 homes, they pay cash for it. So just a different mindset when coming into the spaces.
Yes, and that's when group come in.
Right, group economics.
That's when group economics, you go.
And if I can have Dre just kind of chime in, and talk about what you're currently doing for your project in terms of payments for people that are interested in investing in your project.
And the price range.
Right, the price points.
Price points anywhere from $50K to $197,000 for a 4-bedroom house, rooftop pool, beautiful view, 4.5 bathrooms, and solar off grid. And so solar financing, so 5K reservation fee, 15% down, 2-year monthly payment plan, equal 24 months equal payments. So Hafeeza was saying, most people pay cash here in Ghana. There's no really credit system here, so people buy in cash, they save up money, they live with relatives until they get enough money. You see a lot of uncompleted projects, you think, okay, somebody can stop building. Pretty much they just get the money and save it and build as they save, get the money that they're saving to complete the project. So you might see projects here that's been uncompleted for 10 years, but they own the project, they own their house, and so you have a lot more ownership here than you would have in the U.S.
Right.
Next question.
Okay, so my question was about the cost. He answered it for there, but what about for the Dominican Republic or other areas that are being invested in? What is the price range for those homes?
The average price range in the Dominican Republic is about $150,000. Oh, y'all heard me say it again. The average price range for a home in the Dominican Republic is $150,000. That's the average.
Is that another 4-bedroom type house?
That can be a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. That can be a 1-bedroom. It depends on where you're looking in the Dominican Republic. Where I purchased that is in Punta Cana. So.
Cash? No, seriously.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying different countries.
It's a payment plan.
Okay.
But yes.
There was a yes.
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 Payment plan like other places?
Mm-hmm.
No, is there any payment plan?
Yes. Yes.
And there's also a range of opportunities available depending on what your price point is, and that's why we are definitely advocating for collective economics as far as pooling our resources to make these purchases. And depending on where you are, what it is that you're looking to do, again, between Mexico, where we have opportunities starting at, $500 now with a, 20 to 30-year term of paying off for you to purchase land in some of these viable regions that are building up or that we're familiar with, like Cancun or outside of Togo,
Meridia.
I'm working on that.
It's okay.
But again, there's a wealth of opportunities. So just because this is a cash-based opportunity, it doesn't necessarily price you out. There are strategic ways that you can build the financing and have down payments. For example, the Virginia Business Credit, or there's, again, we have to get creative in how we go about this and how we set things up. But the opportunities are there, and the collective opportunities are there as well.
I have a question.
Turn it on. Got the little button.
Testing.
Yes. There you go.
I came in a little late, but
Could you guys briefly discuss the pros and cons? Just comparing the real estate or investment opportunity here versus there, and why you decided to take your funds offshore?
You go.
And you're on.
Go ahead.
So, my name is Edward Mines. I'm locally and internationally. Very happy here. So, the pros and cons. Over there internationally, like I said, everything is cash based. In terms of appreciation, I think it goes faster than here. So you have a place where you pay for with cash. You don't have debt on it. Any revenue you get off of it is yours 100%. You get to enjoy when you go there as well. And you appreciate faster than here. So your risk is very high and heavy, but your reward is also equivalent to that. Here, you have loans. Takes time sometimes to get a project done. You deal with taxes, you deal with a whole bunch of stuff. In Ghana, I believe that when you own a house there, you don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't pay tax on it. So those are the pros and cons. And there are more that some other people can share.
Anybody else want to time before? Dre, would you like to chime in on the pros and cons of investing in the U.S. versus outside? Because I know you had a portfolio before you left for Ghana, correct?
Yes, definitely there's pros and cons. Like I said, access to capital in the U.S. not having that same access to capital here in Ghana to build. I think here there's less restrictive on how you build. There's, once you submit your building plans, nobody's coming to check X, Y, and Z. There's no final building code inspector to make sure you're doing plumbing, electrical, things like that. So you have to put those things in place when you build internationally, especially if you have investors looking to invest. Some of the cons might be, it is risky because it is a cash-based business. There's no really accountability system here, especially when buying land. I had somebody that came, I don't know nobody that came here to Ghana, they bought land sight unseen, and they were telling me online that they bought it, they got here and found out that the land was sold from somebody else, so they lost like $14,000 by buying land. So there's no really accountability here, so you just have to do your due diligence. That's why I tell people to slow down. Ghana teaches you patience. You have to be patient here. Don't be in a rush to do things, and things will work out and be in your favor. And so one thing a pro here is a peace of mind. I don't worry about the police. I don't worry about shootings and things like that. The price point that you have in the cities, you can live your best life, a peaceful life on a beach, in the mountains, or what you can have in the inner city, a lot less in the inner city. So it's definitely, a lot of pros that comes along with living here in Ghana.
And I'm just gonna chime in, just for me personally. Dre just said you can get a brand new what for how much? $50,000, right? $50,000. So for me, I felt that,
It's a car.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, right, exactly. So for me, I felt like I can do more, right, with my dollar. My dollar goes further outside for, what's the conversion rate for
11 times.
Right.
11.
11.
Again, ma'am. How many times?
Right. So for every $1 US, it's about 11 Ghana cedis. Did I pronounce that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think we have another question.
We have several.
Okay, several questions.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not yet.
No.
There's a little button and it'll turn green, look for the number 5.
Professional.
The low.
I think I'm
The very bottom. There you go. Bring this down.
Okay, I said I have great light. Great, so, my apologies, I was in a meeting early, so I was late coming to this, but, I know my family, we've talked about, like, pooling our resources together and purchasing something outside of this country, which all the reasons that you all have shared. So my question is, because I have to report back to them, because found out about this session and we've been talking about it, so to actually make it happen, I have several questions. One, do you have to have joint citizenship of that other country in order to buy land? And then what would be the next step? Like, would we need to find a realtor who could represent us international, or do we kind of do it all ourselves? Because we've been talking about this as a family, so it's like to come to this session and have all of this expertise here. I just probably want to talk to all of you all afterwards, but I just need to know like the next step, if you could kind of address that, please.
No, absolutely. I think it would be to talk to all of us afterwards, because there's definitely different areas of expertise and information that can be shared. One of the things as part of the international sales agent piece is that we are tapping into viable developers. Like most of the developers that we have are vetted. You know, we know their background, we know their reputation, we know the quality of their work. So that's the bridge that we make as far as from the diaspora, people here in the States who want to invest internationally. There are a lot of moving parts. One of the benefits, like I said, one of the pros is like you can do anything, right? But it's also a con in the sense of if you don't have the right relationships and you don't have, you haven't done your due diligence or safeguarded yourself in the process, it can be, disastrous. So we want to be able to help mitigate some of that by being of support. So we have vetted opportunities that we share. It is not the all be all. There is land available, there's different things, but it's just a peace of mind to be able to work with people who are boots on the ground, who have, the reputation, the integrity that you're looking for, especially with bringing investment to your family. So I would absolutely say there's no cookie cutter answer to that or approach to doing it. You have to do what's most comfortable, but just know that you do have the support here to be able to make those decisions, to answer some of those questions. We have, Dre's been there for a number of years and has established support systems and a network of vetted, opportunities, legal, land options, the process itself. So there's a wealth of knowledge that's here that can help you along the process. And in addition to the projects that we have.
Okay, the property is mainly in Ghana?
No. So we have opportunities as far as from the international sales agents. We have access to properties in Guyana, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Bahamas. There's a project in Honduras, Mexico. So that's why I said it's definitely not the better approach. Whatever you're looking for, we can support you in identifying that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I graduated. But I did have another question. So, just like she was saying, my goal is to build my dream house somewhere outside of the U.S. For my family. So, how do you go about starting the research process to see which country may be best for you? Instead of like flying to every single country that could be on my mind, but I know I want to be on the African continent. But I don't know how to start figuring out safety levels. Like that's really big where I may also have rights as a woman. That's very huge to me. So how do we start that research process to just start narrowing down where women have rights and where it can be very safe and we don't have to deal with police issues and things like that in our country?
Well, the internet is definitely useful in that regard as far as like if there's places that you already have in mind, like if you know you want to be in West Africa, you know you want to be in East Africa, or if you don't know it all, but you just like Google some of the top places. There's a lot, social media is also helpful in that as far as like people who have been to those places, just to narrow things down, but there's nothing that will be more important than you touching ground on the land, than you going on the tours, than you having your own experiences in that setting, because what's good for somebody else might not resonate with you. So to be able space that is that feels like home for you, it absolutely is imperative for you to take those, take that step and invest in actually going. So we do have tours that we do multiple times a year in all of the jurisdictions that we support. They're vetted, so you know where you're staying, the safety level is taken care of, you're within the collective, as far as your lodging, even excursions to show you what's going on in the area, all of those things are taken care of for you, so you have that peace of mind. So again, definitely connect and once you now and then.
So to directly respond to your question, it depends. What I tell people to start with ancestry.com, okay? That can do the DNA thing to tell you which part of Africa you may come from. Then you start from there, just emotional at that point. So then, like she said, social media will tell you what's going on in that country, that region. And then it depends on how you want to do it, right? But to be safe, talk about safety, right? It's best to go with what we're talking about instead of you trying to go there and build yourself. Just get with a network and blah 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 and be able to help you to get that taken care of. Okay. And as far as you mentioned of women's safety, Africa, personally, I've not heard anywhere where women don't have safety. Every country got whatever, right? So sometimes the social media throws the wrong message out there, or whatever. So just do your research. But I feel that anywhere you go, you can be safe. Depends on which area you want to go.
Not just safety, but rights.
Yes.
Like I'm independent woman, like I'm married, but I don't want to have my husband for everything. Like I can handle my own business. So I want my voice to be respected too. Not just keep me safe by they have under stress. Like let me be a boss.
So that is the culture a little bit. Some places, if you go to the village, like real local people, the woman is boss. In Africa. So it's like we just have to do more research and understand the local culture, and you find a place where you fit perfectly.
And we do have some other questions too. So go ahead.
My question is, after you get this property, and I am a citizen of the United States, I don't live there all the time, are we talking Airbnb? Is it Airbnb in Africa?
Yes.
Okay, and then who is managing that property? Because I am not a property manager. Can you tell me more about that?
I think we need it up here. So
So yes, to answer your question, for the projects that we represent, there absolutely is the opportunity. It's an investment property, so the only way that you're going to make money on your investment is someone is there when you're not for rental income. So we do have those things in place. There is management on site, seasoned people who have been doing this, turnaround, marketing, all of those things been taken into consideration. I know particularly for Ghana, there's also that in the DR as well, and I believe in Guyana, in Mexico. So we're doing that across the board to give you that peace of mind, to make sure that your property is really yielding the return that you're looking for from an investment standpoint, and from a standpoint of you're not physically there. These locations, some of them are more challenging to get to than others, but that's the benefit of working with it collaboratively.
I just have one question. So what's the name of the collective and how can we get the contact information so we can join?
Yes. So it is international sales agent under the real estate house. Yes. So we'll get you that information. I thought there was supposed to be a little scan thing coming up, but we'll get that to you. And that's how you tap into the opportunity. But again, in addition to being able to have access to the properties, there's also the opportunity to become an international sales agent. Again, if you have collectives of people in your network who are interested, why not be the liaison that connects them to it? And in the process, you'll earn commission in doing so. So we have these various projects that are going on. I know in Ghana, they just opened up a the opportunities. It's the TREH.
Correct.
International Center.
And we'll get everyone's, unfortunately, we couldn't have multiple items on the screen, so we had to get codes for everyone. But we'll get Dre's information to everyone just in case. Dre, do you want to share the Beyond Investment information?
Yes, Hafeeza Turè is the international sales lady for Ghana, so she'll be able to relay all the information and questions you have regarding the project. So those who have Hafeeza Turè, she can provide you all the information beyond investments.
Okay, so we'll get Hafeeza to get that information out, and then Edward, would you like to share Get a Homes?
Yeah, so I've had as part of the whole consortium, I've had people come to me and they're like, okay, I want to invest, but I want to do it myself. So how do you become a real estate investor? There are a lot of things that go into it. Understanding building codes, understanding how to raise funds, understanding construction. So I realized that people have money, but they don't have time, or they don't have experience in that area. And one thing about raising funds, if you don't have the experience, you don't get money. So personally, I'm going to open up sort of a program, like a school training program where I'll teach people how to become a real estate investor. And as far as investing internationally, so some people tell me, well, I have $100,000, but I'm scared. I don't want to just take it to Africa and the money, and then I'm stuck here, right? So I present an opportunity for you to actually make money with $100,000 here, and then you can invest the profit overseas. So whenever anything happens to the money, you still got your original capital. We'll have information about that later if you're interested.
So I have a question. We purchased land in Liberia, and we got the deeds, and now we are getting ready to build. I think it's rainy season now, so we're not doing anything yet, but what tips or things can we look for, prepare for, kind of keep in mind as we are selecting, the people who are going to be doing the building, and also during that whole construction period?
So you want to be your own GC, right, in Africa?
Huh?
You want to be your own general contractor in Africa?
No, that is not how we have built some relations over there. We've done a few things. For that particular village where we were building, we've connected with the schools. We kind of have some funding going to the schools. We put in street lights. So, and we have, some relationships. I still want to just kind of be as prepared as possible and have some tips or things I need to be considering and looking out for when we are getting to that building phase.
So I want to be specific, Bill, in terms of what you have to do with the construction part of the building.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so building materials over there is mainly cinder blocks and concrete, right? You may want to explore into the technologies we use in the United States that you may want to employ there. Personally, I have taken the wall system. So in Ghana and most part of Africa, we use cinder block for the perimeter walls, the foundation, and then inside partition walls. So everything is cinder block. It's hard to remodel or so on and so forth. So I'm going to introduce steel studs, 25-inch steel studs and drywall for inside partition walls. So once you're inside the house, how you have a look and feel of the house in the United States. Okay. So there are a lot of things that we can employ from here over there that you may want to in terms of the building technology. Workers over there charge differently, so you want to understand their rate locally before you go there. You want to have, say you have a local person, right? Contact them. So let them do other research in terms of how much the workers charge. Because once you show up and they see American face, trust me, I get it. So I think that's about that. Once the funds are there, they pretty much work very fast. Liberia. So in West Africa, in terms of the best artisans, mainly go through the Francophone countries like Benin, Togo. So you want to sort of, look into those places for, depends on exactly what or how you want to build. I think, did I answer the question? No.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
Okay, we are over time. I know we still have more questions, so let's get Dre would like to chime in on that last question. So you have the floor, Dre. All mics off, please.
Definitely have a backup for your backup.
Oh, yes.
Everything is everything, and so contracts are worldwide, and so this don't be dependent on one person where if something goes bad, then the whole project goes away. So you want to make sure you do your due diligence on the contractor and have a backup for your contractor in case things doesn't work out with them. And do get references from whoever's building where you can see their work. That's pretty much, there's a lot of things you can do, but I can't, go over everything as far as the way you want to do it. Definitely it's rainy season, so you definitely want to check the land while it's rainy season. Make sure you're buying a floodplain. So that's one of the things I advise people. If they do buy land, don't buy in the dry season when it's not raining, because you won't know if it's in a floodplain and you have a flooded project.
I see 6, so
that works too.
All right. So forgive me, I know I was one of the people that were a few minutes late, but I wanted to follow. I know from Ghana as well as the Dominican Republic, Ghana people have been going from here, making the transition for years, right? And you talked about a limited amount of those condos of 50 grand. Dominican Republic, I know the gentleman from the airport has the whole dream of making it the next Cancun, right? So there's a lot of happening there. So did we miss the boat? And what I mean by that, I know there's still opportunity, but what's the next up and coming area that may not be the Ghana because it's been years, right? So someone maybe 10 years ago could have jumped on, still lucrative, but did we miss the opportunity? Is there a next place or another location that is the up and coming that's not as talked about like Ghana or the Dominican Republic? I talked about or heard about Nigeria as well, and my friends from there that said, hey, you have to be careful of depending on political parties and things of that nature. Does that also come into play? Is that something that we also should consider when taking a look at Africa overall? So the next up and coming and the political uncertainty.
I'll start by saying this. So I went to Ghana for the first time in August of this year, and there is so much land. There is so many places, like we hear about Accra and the city, but when you get to the outskirts, it's so much. It's room for so much development. So my easy answer to you personally is, as far as Ghana, no. You have not missed the boat for Ghana. There's so many areas, so many villages, so many regions that, not only need or have the opportunity for real estate development, it also has an opportunity for building up a community. Like, I can't express to anyone how I felt when I went there, how I felt when I walked those lands, how it was to literally walk in the village and meet with the people in the village and talk to them. It's something I cannot describe. And just like having a baby and raising a child, no one could describe to me how much work it is to have an infant in your arms, or what that birth process is. Everyone's experience is different. So my answer is no, I don't think the boat has been missing. I don't think you've missed the boat. But you know, do your research and figure out where you want to be in terms of your heart. I'm gonna tell a story about my friend. We went to North Tongu District together. I've known him over 20-something years. And I used to always tell him I really think I'm from Ghana. Seriously, I would tell him I really think, and then as I met people going through life, every person I met and felt like I connected with from the land just so happened to be from Ghana. So now we fast forward 25 years later, and the fact that my husband was just installed as a chief of economic development in Ghana, I'm literally Ghanaian.
The queen, y'all. I'm starting there. She is the queen of Volo on the Volta River.
But it's a lot. It's so much work. It's so much work, and we need to be there. When we was getting off the plane, do you know how many Asians I saw getting off that plane? And they were not there for tourism or not there for vacation.
Not at all.
At all.
At all.
So we need to be there and help our community.
Can I chime in right quick? So that is our hashtag for Volo is it takes a village. Hashtag rebuild Volo. So there is opportunity for each and every one of you to be a part of that movement. And as I mentioned earlier with the investment piece, you know, there's resorts being built, but there's also beautiful waterfront property that's there to encourage the tourism. And like someone said, it's nothing like touching down. So I'm super excited about going in April, you know, for my feet to touch the ground, but it takes a village. How many of us have ever used that saying? But now you have the opportunity to be the village and to build the village. So I saw another question over here. I don't know. I think
She's in the back. Her in the back. She was first.
Touch on the political aspect of it. I know there was a part 2 to that question in reference to the political aspect of it in spaces. What I've noticed just in my travel, this is from personal experience, I was physically there less than a month ago, right? Going all over the place, meetings, you know, nightlife, all of that. It did not match up with what I was seeing in the news. Right? So all of the images, all of these alerts and this crisis, fear-based posts and things that were going on, I was physically there at the time. It was not. Wow. The energy crisis, unrest and all of that, that was not at all what I experienced. So I think even that whole idea of when choosing a place, looking at the political climate, who's telling the story?
Right. That's good.
So in doing your research, it's very important to go on those tours, you know.
And we have some tourists coming up.
April 2024.
So with the political judgment, in 1400s when the Portuguese got there, okay, there was one weekend going on, right? It's still going on today. So the media is going to make you feel like that's the worst place you want to go. But trust me, on Earth today, the African American Black group are the most developed Black people in the whole world today. Without you, Africa would not go anywhere. I'm very sentimental about that. I'm very serious about that. So, like she said, community building is what we need with your support. And once we can get that done, bring back what belongs to us in order to be together as one people. There is no animosity on both sides. Everything is just done. Let's be real with this. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to say something really quick, and I'm going to give the question back. So again, in terms of support, one of the things that we have done is created an opportunity for you just to support with that. And so we have shea butter and also black soap and handmade beads in Ghana, that for a donation of $25 or more, you can get that. And so if that's something you're interested in, just a little taste of Ghana, you can see me after the meeting and we can, get you that. But even just something like that, part of my role is gonna be introducing the community to my chief and sharing the message and connecting and doing events and bringing products from Ghana so you guys can experience. I know you all probably seen like the shea butter and the black soap and the beads and stuff, but it's something about, knowing about the village that it came from. Or as a fashion designer for over 30 years, when I make something, the fabric speaks to me. So it's something about knowing where that textile came from. And so even if you can't afford to necessarily invest in it tomorrow, you can support our mission by just purchasing some, or donating, not purchasing, but donating towards the cost for some shea butter or black soap. And so I think this young lady had what she has. I'll take that one. Whitney, all right.
Hey y'all, it's so nice. I'm designing with Sonya and so many other things, so I love it. And so yeah, I ran and left my clients to just keep you.
Okay.
For y'all. I am highly invested. I'm a missionary at heart in everything that I do. So my nonprofit with young people that I would love to host. I went to OD and I go to North State now, and so I want to come over and set up where I'm aware, set up business first. So I want to come up and set up my businesses first, and then invest in real estate and the other ventures, and then I want to partner with the nonprofit to come over and be, a sister brother hosting situation. So I would want to know how we get into that, and then I would also want to know, do you think it's important to dual citizenship? Because we've been into manufacturing and different things, so we don't lost money and we don't trusted folks, and you already know we can do attorney. So now I definitely get someone to be a liaison for me to do it, yet my anxiety be on radar high the whole time. And so it's really been scared money don't make no money. And I'm a little tired of that. So I'm definitely open and willing to be the vessel with Sonya and you all, and to bring some of what we have over also to enlighten. And so yeah, I just want to know about how y'all feel about dual citizenship. Is it important? Should we? Can you do it in multiple places? So on my paper, I have Mexico, Belize, Ghana, which is Lagos, and I also have Nigeria. So those are my top. So if you guys can help me, I'm begging.
Dre, you want to speak to the dual citizenship piece, and I'll cover the business development relationship.
Yeah, I think dual citizenship is real trendy. You hear that and you want dual citizenship. And I tell people, don't put the cart in front of the horse. Visit first, see if it's for you, see if you like it. There's a process. You have to establish residency first before you do a citizenship. And it usually takes, it's easy to get residency here in Ghana. So I tell people to start that process first. It's usually like a 5-year process of getting your dual citizenship here in Ghana. They're not handing it out despite what media and social media says. There are ways to bypass things. It's Africa, so that's how some things work in pay to play. But it's not what people think. They only have gave out 240 dual citizenships in 2019. I attended the last citizenship ceremony in December of last year, or this year, was it? December of last year, I believe. And that's where a lady from Baby Boy, Joey's mother, she got her dual citizenship there. And it was half the people that got the citizenship from 2019 who were supposed to get it back in. And so they're not handing them out like people think. You're fine with residency here. If people have been here for 5, 10 years without citizenship, all the citizenship does is allows you to get a 99-year lease on your land as opposed to a 50-year lease. You can vote. And they can't kick you out of the country if you do anything wrong, which I don't see why you'd be kicked out of the country anyway. But that's how dual citizenship allows you to do. And so I just tell them, don't put the cart in front of the horse. Visit first, if it's for you, start the residency here, and then go with the process that's slated. So they're supposed to be working on streamlining that So we'll see where it's at, but they're not handing out dual citizenship like that here in Ghana.
Thank you for that. And in reference to the, just business development and going over and the support and things of that nature, and just coming from that whole missionary space of wanting to contribute and give, just to piggyback and to speak again to the point of going and connecting, one thing that I felt was one of the most impactful aspects of the first tour that I went to in Ghana, was tours to Ghana, in one of Dre Tavlor's companies. And one of the aspects of the experience was networking. We went to this networking event that included diaspora and Ghanaians, or some Ghanaians that had traveled abroad and came back. But it was a central location that was this room of like-minded people. Everyone who comes to Ghana for whatever reason. Some were from Nigeria, some were from, Sierra Leone, different places, and then from the States as well. Different business ventures, whether it was real estate, some people had many spas, and just a plethora of experience and they were bringing to the table. But it just showed that there was all of these people with these innovative mindsets that were in this space, and they saw this blank canvas and they saw it was a wealth of opportunity. There are 35 million people in Ghana, and what the year of return in 2019 did was it shined a light on that they want to have a connection with us, that they're welcoming, that the doors are open, that they're saying, come back. And we're getting mixed messages, right? Because that wasn't necessarily what we were raised to think about the continent of Africa as a whole. So now that we have this opportunity to connect, I'm really clear about in my interactions not coming from a perspective that we know everything here and that we're gonna go with our, strong dollar that's 11 times bigger, stronger than yours and buy up everything, because that's the Western mindset. So how do we go in and collaborate? How do we go in and build those relationships and make those connections? We have to go. We have to be on the ground. We have to connect with the people. We have to find out from them what it is that they want.
And just to piggyback, I got really connected doing business.
Mm-hmm.
And so they support me in my craft and what I do with children. And it was shocking to me that was my first international client,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like one of the best experiences. It's like, hey, I'm trying to do this every day in the States, and meaning it was still involvement in who I am. And that is what I took from it. It was just not my clothes that I'm sending. It wasn't the things that I was helping with. It was, hey, are you okay today? And so that was the shocker to me. So that was what made me want to work with them. And we're inducting 100 kids in my nonprofit. These are the people who are saying, hey, we'll help donate some passports. And I'm like, hey, we trying to help you when you trying to help me. It's like, listen, sign me up.
And one of the comments that I want to make is because I come from that service background, being in community service most of my whole life, and one of the opportunities that we do have in Volo and Akosombo. And so my counterpart, the assistant that's to the chief that's there in Ghana, he has an NGO, and so we've been working on ways to support his NGO. But that's something I would say, if you are a nonprofit or have a nonprofit, maybe there's an opportunity and a space to collaborate, because just being here in the US, we all know that people like that tax ID number so they can get the benefit of that. But being that he has an NGO and does not have that, he can't really receive the amount of donations that he possibly could if he had a partnership with a nonprofit that does have a tax ID number. So if your strong suit is more so service and connecting and that sort of thing, I would say perhaps the area you're considering building business in or relationships in, there may be an NGO or nonprofit that you could partner with to achieve a collaborative goal.
That's just on my people. But yeah, that's just on my people, and that was a reason I was here.
Okay. Hi everyone again. So my background is in law, and I have a company called COMMEMORATES, where we're helping African founders set up companies in Africa, and also scale those companies to the US, so they can access funding in technology, infrastructure, and so on. One of the things I just wanted to speak to the question you were asking. I think that with Africa, there's a vast opportunity in Africa in so many sectors, and it's not just real estate. It's also agriculture. It's also technology. There's a gap that for someone like me who has a business in Africa and helping and supporting African founders to start companies over there and move those companies here, there's still a lot that needs to be done. So if we can decide that for what I want to do, I want to make this investment in this part, that 50 plus African countries, right? There's Africa, there's South Africa, there's East Africa, there's West Africa. So we can, as a community, find a certain sector we want to invest in. It could be agriculture. There's vast land. There's so many things. Well, I can't say this enough. But Africa is the next best place if you want to invest anything in. And I just want to use the opportunity to invite everyone to check out these opportunities that are out there in Africa. And you can feel free to ask questions. I'm a member of AfriLab. So AfriLab is a community of tech innovators and entrepreneurs across Africa. We are a 300 plus city membership organization. So feel free to ask questions, but that's it. Thank you.
And then I'm going to kind of bring you in on that conversation. Is there anything you would like to add regarding building a business and development and tapping into resources?
Yes, certainly. I was actually going to raise my hand and say, this is a really interesting conversation, because the thing that we want to see about what I call it, baby stereotypes, and really being in Africa or in Ghana as an example, to really get the truth and the story, because the media is out there writing all sorts of stories for us, and it really is just ourselves that need to just write our own stories, and that really is what drives us as Africans, as a freelance marketplace, sourcing jobs for African talent. So what we're trying to do is to let people know that we are going to be the best service done by an African freelancer, and it doesn't mean that they are not exposed or they don't know. So we really are trying to bring down those barriers and bring down those stereotypes and putting the African professionals on the map, on the global market, and letting our clients know that you will be able to get the same service, sometimes even better, but also again more affordable. So there really is a lot of untapped talent in Africa development, and so just maybe trying to bring it down to this conversation regarding helping future investors to look into where they can put their money into. We have a vast, I would say, on the platform about over 10,000 freelancers that are there, and they're all over Egypt, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and also Africa, Zimbabwe, and all of that. So if you need help with tapping into your market, if you need help getting more information, we are here to help you. You can hire someone that can get you information and they can do that for you. So we really are working together, and it's interesting that there are people like yourselves also coming together to want to know more about what's going on in Africa, and I really am glad that we had this conversation.
Thank you so much. We're at time. I thought I saw one more question.
I did have one. I just heard how he had said 50-year lease versus 99-year lease. So when you buy a property in Africa, do you not own it forever? Like here, once I own the property, it's mine forever, passed down to generations. But that's not the case there.
Dre, you want to answer?
It's not really yours. If you don't pay your taxes in 3 years, that's your home. If they want to build a highway in front of your house, then they're little, but the next domain, so it's not really truly yours. There's a lot of cases where they can take your house from you for whatever reason. And so the thought process of Africa is that no one should own land, it's God's land, you're the overseer of that land. And so if you have a 50-year lease, more than likely you'll get your citizenship within that 50 years. You don't get your citizenship, I don't know what Lisa was doing, why you had the property 50 years. So, you'll get a renewable lease within that 50 years. If you don't get citizenship, but you do get it, it becomes 99-year automatic renewable lease. So that's not really a big issue here. You have really more ownership here than you do in the U.S., even though it's considered a lease. Because basically you're just really leasing land in the U.S. You can't do anything with your sidewalks. So there's all kinds of examples where you really don't truly own like you think you own in the U.S.
Okay, and then I just also wanted to know, how do we start getting to know like the language and the culture, getting more embedded in that? One, just to feel more connected in general, but also so that when we're coming over, we're not looked at as just money or, because I've had some experiences where I've like tried to work with some people, like hire some VAs and stuff out of Africa. They try to charge me U.S. prices, and I'm like, this ain't that. So, but also, like I've spoken to someone in South Africa, and she was like, hey, if you come over here, make sure you're with a native because they will literally change the price tag as soon as they see you. And, add $100 or something like when it's normally like $1 being sold to the people here. So how do we, I don't want to be con, and I'm not the word to say it.
So I think just, how many languages are spoken in Ghana?
A lot. There are 100 official and then over 200 unofficial.
Right. So it's a cultural thing. When you learn a language, I think you'll still be seen as a diaspora, like you're coming over. So learning a language it's good because then you can have, some more timely. There's some key languages like trees is familiar depending on the region that you're in. So it's not a bad idea to learn a language, but it's also a cultural thing as far as like negotiation. So we don't take it as somebody trying to cheat us or get over on us, and we just understand that this is kind of the process, right? There's a science to this. So yes, they give me a price. So I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dre and Edward, but one of the tour guides told us, you take the number that they give you, divide it by half, and take a third off.
Yeah, I have a 220 rule, right? So carry to 2, take 20% of it, and you start negotiating from there. Okay. And speaking in terms of the land, right? I think you had a question that what if we have 50 years or 99 years? Do they come for the land? I've never heard anything like that happen. So your great grandchildren, if they own it, the government will come to them, they have to get a fee, but it's something very minimal, and then they renew for them another 100 years, whatever it is. So you will never lose the land. But like Grace said, the land belongs to God, and nobody can own it.
Okay. So you're still able to leave it for,
Absolutely.
Okay. So I know that we're at time, but I know that is there a way for us to at least get the names and stuff? So, I trust, but there's a lot of times I've been places that say, we're gonna send this stuff out, and something happens technologically, and it doesn't come, and then we're like, who we call? So, yeah, so the organizations, I know that there was organizations that you guys talked about that we could be able to tap into, travel agents, also the business in terms of opportunity for, so if we can just get some contact.
Just real quick, should have the QR code.
No QR, yeah.
We'll
look it up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so we'll do that offline, but
Okay.
we'll make sure that you have, direct contacts, because everyone is doing,
Something, yeah.
Something,
Yeah, there you go.
That would be excellent. So yes, we'll make sure that everything else is out. All right.
Well, thank you so much. I want to